3, 2, 1. Hello everyone. Welcome to Ed Talk TV, Conversations Worth Having. I hope you're having a fantastic Monday. Tell me where you're tuning in from. Let me know if this is your first time. We have a great group that shows up here all the time. Like literally, we go live Monday through Friday, and for the most part, they're here Monday through Friday for an hour. So it's pretty awesome. I'm just now looking down at the phone though, and it's really interesting that I don't know if the intro played in portrait mode, but it looked like it on my phone here, as you can see, which is really weird. It's Monday, and I think there's a lot of weird things going on because of daylight savings time. I don't know. UK viewers, because I know that I have a lot of you. Do you guys do that? I don't know if that's a dumb question or not, but I'm just going to ask it anyway. Maybe everyone does. I don't know. I figured that I would just share that with you. Looks like Aaron's here. Hello, welcome. And so, anyway, before I even jump in, geez, I'm already ready to go, right? That is weird. So, okay. See, this is what happens. So, real quick, for those who are new, this is a business talk show. We talk about business, tech, and the user experience. Oftentimes, you'll get me, but then we also have guests. If you want to become a guest, all you have to do is go to edtalktv.com later, not now, and request to be a guest. It's free. It allows you to grow your audience. It allows you to share your knowledge and get yourself out there. So definitely do that. Welcome, Vicky. Yes. Hey, are you early or are you clocks changed? So Vicky's one of our UK viewers. Our clocks changed, Vicky. So I'm curious. I'm guessing by your comment that it doesn't change in the UK. Again, maybe that's a dumb question, but I don't know the answer to it, so I'm going to say it and I'm going to ask it, okay? So what I'm doing right now, which is very, very interesting, you guys. So this is what happens, okay? You come to the party, the show, and you just never know what you're going to get, okay? There's a title, yes, to kind of hook you, but most of the time, let's be honest, I don't even know if my titles are that great because I just want to get it out there. I just want to be like, okay, this is something, but hopefully people know to not only like and love and share this episode, but to comment. Like that's the most important part is show up and comment because it's going to help you get noticed. Not just me, but you. Let me take a look at the comments. It's only, so Vicky, look at you. You have an extra hour before bed. So there you go. Now there's no excuse for you sleeping on the show, right? It does, but later in the month. Okay, cool. Don't ask me when. Good, Vicky, good. I'm glad I'm not the only one thinking that. So, are you guys, this is what I'm getting excited about. So, okay. See, this is why you tune in, because you just don't know, and I'm just all over the place. So, there's a few exciting things. You will notice that I put in the comments a pinned post. It's different than the one I normally post. There is an option for anybody who wants to treat me to coffee or a drink. There's an option for you to do that at any point in time because we do this for free. And then here's the other cool thing. Well, there's a couple. So here's another one. On top of that, I came across something cool this morning that I've been testing that I'm only going to be sharing. I know you guys are going to be mad, but I'm only going to be sharing it with my Check with Ed subscription group. So what that means is that what I found today is going to help those of you, excuse me, I had some trail mix before this. So there you go. So for those who are trying to get into live streaming, yes, you have a training option that I have available on edtalktv.com. That is a training that I did that helps you go from basics to more advanced features like this for Facebook Live. Hey, welcome everyone. Which is great, that's available. But I found something this morning that is going to knock your socks off for those who are in my Check with Ed group. Now, I know some of you are probably like, well, wait, what is Check with Ed? And am I in that group? How do I get in that group? There's a link to a sales page, which I'm going to have to redo because it's like not that great of a sales page. I can own it. I'm okay with that. But the reason I'm doing it only for Check with Ed group members is because It's something that will really help you with your live streaming. And to be honest, I would do the training by itself for the same price of what you would get for the Check with Ed monthly, although you get more than just that training, if that makes sense. So check that out. Check with Ed monthly currently is still only $27, just FYI, but that gets you a whole month of inside the group, inside my personal training videos for Facebook and WordPress, and then you're also going to find out about this new app that I discovered that allows you to really take your creations to the next level. So it'll be really cool, and it's easy to use. That's the best part. It's easy to use. So it's really fun. I'm thinking I'm going to do the training, drop it into the group tomorrow, but I'm still working on when I'm going to do that. So there's that. Now, here's something else I just noticed. You're listening and watching while washing dishes. I love it. Yes. Awesome. Thank you so much. So here's something that I just literally noticed. So we all know that Facebook changes all the time. Like literally, it seems like every day, sometimes every minute, right? Well, right now, I'm looking at my phone, and I'm going to show it to you guys because I want you guys to see if you can tell this difference. And maybe it's only on my end. Remember, sometimes it only happens on certain profiles. But I'm looking at this broadcast right now. And notice anything different? The way it looks here versus there. Very interesting. If you didn't catch that, because you're washing dishes, you're taking a nap while listening to Ed, hey, it happens. Here's what I'm noticing right now, is that Facebook, at least on my profile, right at this moment, it may not be on everyone's, but right at this moment, Facebook has almost a square preview going on, so that it's really trying to focus on, and here, this just came to me, so we'll see what happens here. I think they're trying to make it so that portrait broadcasts, holding your phone like this, which is what is natural for us, I think they're trying to make it so that it looks better in the newsfeed when you go into portrait mode versus when you flip your device so you can repurpose your videos. Are you picking that up? Do you get that? Do you understand? Like, there's something going on there, and that's my guess. Vicky says, sorry, was checking when your clocks changed. Oh, no worries, Vicky. That is my guess, you guys. Literally, this just happened as we went live on Facebook right now, and that's the only thing I can think of why they would try to make it look like that. Again, in this route versus the full landscape like we're used to seeing. So this is a new discovery. This will be interesting for those of you just tuning in. Welcome. So that's the kind of stuff that happens. And then see, like, if I go back to, let's see if I go back to my page. We're going to talk about spring cleaning here in a second. But again, on my page, which I know some of you don't have this feature yet, but on my page, when I go live, it replaces my cover video with my live broadcast. Hey, Jess. Hello, hello. When you go live, oh, Erica, the whole place is jumping now. Everyone's here. Welcome. Real quick recap. If you don't watch the replay of this, replay viewers, make sure to comment. We talked real quick about the new Treat Ed option that's here in the comments. We also talked about Check with Ed Monthly and dropping in this week a new resource that's going to knock your socks off for going live. That's super easy, so you don't have to have all these fancy programs. And then now we're covering how Facebook, when we went live right now, I love that you guys are all jumping in and saying hi to everyone. Right now, we're just recapping how Facebook, for at least my page, because remember, it changes for everyone, but at least my page right now, see, now it's back to normal. In my newsfeed, it's to the normal, but when I was previewing it elsewhere, it was pretty, almost square. It was a little longer though, so it was more like a rectangle, I guess. Anyway, so now it's back to normal. Weird. I have a feeling that they're trying to test things out though. I wouldn't be surprised if they tried to test it to make it so that when you go live in what is referred to as normal, that it looks better on the newsfeed versus having the sidebars, because this is more natural, right? But you have to remember, when you want to repurpose your videos, you have to do it sideways. Because if you don't, then you're going to have those black bars on the side. Remember that? I hope you do. Talking to myself, so weird. Anyway, okay, we're done with the phone. So let's jump into some random news besides all of that stuff before we get into today's content and kind of recap on a few things. So random news. Now, this is where it gets really just awkward. It's just, I don't even know how, like, I don't even really want to show this because it's that bad, but it is a good example of why you have to have people, and I don't even know like the whole story of how this even got out, but it's a great example of really asking yourself and then also making sure your team tunes in, right, and provides feedback, because you may think that it's a good idea, but in reality, it could be a very bad idea, okay? So asking for feedback is huge. No matter if you're starting up your own business, whether you're running a business, you're trying to come up with ads, products, whatever. Like, you have to ask for feedback. And you're going to see, and also, by the way, like, I left that up on the wall this time because that side of the room is covered in big Post-its. A lot is going on. This is going to be we're going to be talking a little bit about that for spring cleaning. But I'm going to show this ad that came out from Snapchat, and it was a slipped ad, meaning it wasn't necessarily published yet. I mean, somebody published it obviously because it's out there and it got traction over the weekend. But it's something where you're just like, you just don't mess around with situations like this. So, what's the ad, Ed? What's the ad? Okay. Hang on. Let me get there. Okay? So, this was the ad that popped up over the weekend on Snapchat. Now, if you're not familiar with this situation, back in 2009, there was assault charges and things. We're not going to get into that. But this was an ad that played on Snapchat. For whatever reason, I don't know. Like, somebody obviously thought that was funny. Somebody thought, oh, would you rather? Okay, blah, blah, blah. It's just not. It's one of those things that you don't mess around when it comes to things like that, because that's inappropriate and it just doesn't work that way, right? Jess, the big Post-its are like all over the place. Yeah, right, Vicky? It is OMG, that is bad worthy. I mean, it's really, really bad. And the only reason I wanted to show that was to remind you that you have to have that feedback from people. No matter what you're creating, you want to have feedback, and you want to know what it ties into that's outside of just your little world, your little part of the world, right? Because whenever you're creating something, it doesn't matter if it's an ad like this, if it's a business, if it's a product, whatever service, you have to ask for feedback in order to really get that outsider's perspective, which is why I tell you guys always to make sure that you are not just learning and educating yourself on a specific thing. Like, that's good, but you have to branch out. You have to know what's going on around this area, right? Like, if you're in the middle, you got to go all the way around to kind of see what's going on, because that's going to make you stand out more. So just remember that. Someone got sacked for that one. Yeah, Vicky. I don't know. I don't support that. I am only showing you that for an example that is something you don't want to do, and that you need to be very careful when you are creating things, because you may think, like there's a game where it's Would You Rather, right? Like, that's just a game that people play. I don't really know all the rules and stuff, so I guess I'm too old for that. But the idea for the game might have been okay, but to have a situation where you're involving two people of opposite sex with assault, I mean, the charges and related, that's just messy. I mean, anybody sitting in that room looking at that should have been like, red flag, red flag. I mean, even the unpaid intern who's grabbing the coffee would have been like, dude, what are you talking about? Like, you can't be doing that. What's wrong with you? You know what I'm saying? Like, so again, this is a talk show. This is all about conversations worth having. That's one to have, right? Let me take a look at the comments. Jess says, if you own a business, you better know domestic abuse is bad. If you don't know that, you don't own a business. Yeah, exactly. Guess some people think it's humorous. Yeah, and it's really sad, you know? And as a company, it's like, we have to remember, right? Like, we start our businesses, they grow, we add team members for most of us, and at the end of the day, it's still our name on the business. It's still our whatever attached to it. So even if there was a mistake made down here, it still comes back to the top where we're at, right? Like, it's still a reflection of us. And that is going to be really hard to get around when it's something like that, right? So I'm just glad I'm not their PR crisis management. But we have to always make sure that we are talking about things in terms of what we're creating and asking for that feedback. So hopefully that makes sense. Welcome to all those joining. Be sure to say hi, even if you're watching the replay. It's important because, why is it important? Does anybody remember? I know you guys are washing dishes. You're probably listening to me in the car. You're catching the replay. But why is it important for you to comment? Is it because Ed says to comment, so you just comment? Or did we learn something really, really valuable last week? Hint. I don't think I can do it really good with my right. Hint, hint. Hey, Whitney, what's happening? See how excited I get when I see you guys? We got the crew here. So does anybody remember why it's important to comment? Not just because I said so, and not just because the magic happens in the comments. For those who are new, I take drink breaks because you have to stay hydrated while you're going live. It's a lot of work, so you want to make sure that you stay hydrated. Otherwise, you'll be like totally dehydrated afterwards. Jess, good answer. That is a great answer. It's not specifically the one I was going for, but yes, algorithm will definitely help for sure. Here's the thing, you guys. I actually don't really care about the algorithm. Surprise. I don't care about the likes and the follows on the page. I mean, obviously those are great, but they mean nothing to me unless people are engaging, like you guys. Like right now, you're dropping comments and you're there. Hey, Whit, you're showing up, but and so yes, obviously, and I don't do any paid ads, by the way. For those who are new, I don't do any paid ads, at least not at this point. And so everything that you see is all organic traffic. My reach might not be like crazy high because I don't pay for advertising, but it's, in my opinion, just right. It gets to the right people. And then it's up to you guys if you want to share this out with your friends and family and your community, right? Like that's the next level for that. But when it comes to likes and follows, I could care less because I care about the comments. And it's not only because of the algorithm. Sure, that's going to help a little bit, but let's be honest. I mean, how much is it really going to help? I don't really know in terms of from my page views, but more importantly, I care about the comments because of the fact that you guys get to connect with each other. You're not just connecting with me. Like, it's cool that we connect because this is kind of our only time that we have, unless you hire me for something, but this is like the only time that we really get to have, right? And so the comments are cool, and most of the time I hang out with you guys live here. I do try to go to the after party, which is the comments in the replay, but I can't get through all of them all the time because you guys are just that cool, and I'm old. I got to go to bed at some point, right? But the big reason I have you comment is because it not only connects you with me, but it connects you with each other, and there's so many relationships that have developed out of this, and not to mention, the relationships have led to, wait for it, services, sales, new people joining your community. Yes, that's what it's about. It's not about the sale today. It's about the relationships and building those over time, and the numbers will come later. So that's the background there. Let me just catch up on the comments. Oh, by the way, Whitney, yes, you are correct. We're going to talk about that. So the reason I care so much about the comments is, first off, you get to connect with new people, you get to build your audience, and move into other things like services and actual paying clients, right? But going back to what we learned last week in episode 49, and we kind of talked about it in 52, but 49 specifically, we talked about the Google search results. So we're going to kind of recap that real quick in a minute and go from there. Let me take a look at the comments. Sometimes I would wonder if people put stuff like that ad out there on purpose. Yeah. So, right? It gets people talking. Oops, it slipped. We're very sorry. But here's the thing, because this is a great conversation to have right here, right? It gets the conversation started. Obviously, we can see it here. But what I want to put out there, and you guys, even if you're watching the replay, you let me know if you were, and we'll take this example because we're talking about it, right? Let's say you were Snapchat and you said, okay, we need to get a little bit in the headlines here. We need people to start talking about us a little bit. So let's just slip this ad. We know it's totally bad, like it's just bad, but let's just slip it real quick just so somebody can pick up on it, and then we'll take it away, and then we'll just apologize about it later, which I don't even know if they did. I didn't read the whole thing on there, sorry. But let me ask you, and it could be on a whole different level. It doesn't even have to be on like assault charges like this or whatever. But let me just ask you, is it worth it, do you think, for your company, whether big or small, to do something like that where you put out a quick little like, oops, this happened, and to get attention, good or bad, most of the time in this case it's bad attention, just to be in the headlines? Like, is that worth it, do you think? Because you have to think about, okay, if you do that, what's going to happen afterwards, right? Like what's going to be the consequence to that? Because it's probably going to be much bigger than what you were trying to accomplish at the beginning, right? The ad was, let me see if I still have it here. The ad, just real quick. Oh, I don't have it. The ad was, Would You Rather? And then it was, Rihanna, and then Chris Brown. And then it said something like, would you rather slap her or punch him? It was just all bad. The way everything you look at is bad, about it. It can ruin a brand, right, Tammy? Yes. Not all PR is good. Yep. Exactly, Jess. Yep. And that's the thing. No, it's the same as people who rant about bad customers. Oh, yeah, Vicky, that's a good one. Rant about bad customers. And I think it's unprofessional, and I wouldn't buy from them. Yeah, how many of you guys watching would agree with that, with Vicky? Like, how many of you have seen somebody have a bad rant about their customers or their clients, right? Like, you have to remember that if you're putting it online, doesn't matter if it's Facebook, Snapchat, Twitter, website, whatever. If you're putting it online, it's online. Somebody is going to record it. Somebody's going to screenshot it. Somebody's going to post it elsewhere. So even if you take down the original post, it's still going to be, chances are, it's still somewhere floating around. Yeah, right, Erica? It's bad. I tuned out for a few minutes ago. So yeah, no worries. Yeah, thanks for repeating it. No problem, Vicky. Whitney. Sorry, I'm going through all the comments real quick. But you have to think about that. No, Ed, not worth it to do that. Yeah, bad PR. Yeah, so I'm glad you guys agree. I mean, I figured you would anyway. But you have to think about that. Okay, if you're going to do one thing, what's going to be the consequence? Like, what's worst case scenario, right? And you have to understand that it's not going to look good. And it's going to be more of a pain to try to fix your image after that, right? Because it is. So, and again, that you can bring that all the way back down to as simple as your likes. How many likes you have, how many followers you have, whatever platform, it doesn't matter. But it's like, what are you going to do to try to get those? In some cases, people buy their followers. It happens a lot on Instagram. hate to say it, but that's why I'm not a big fan of Instagram, because there's a lot of spam and there's a lot of fake accounts, and people buy users, and it's like, why? Like, I mean, I know why, because they want to look more popular. They want to have that higher number in order to get a feature from Instagram, or in order to get, that publicity from a magazine or whatever. Like, people are going to say you have to have X amount of followers, blah, 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 for credibility or whatever. You guys, I could care less, right? Like, you'll look at my numbers. My numbers are not crazy, and that's okay. I don't care. And if people are going to judge me based off of my numbers, well, then look at what they're losing out, right? You guys show up every day. You guys show up every day, so you know the value that I bring to the table. You know that you are going to show up for an hour, Monday through Friday, and get a ton of knowledge that you not only learn, but you implement, because I see you guys do that, right? How many others can say that? How many others, not you specifically, but how many others with all of these huge followings, right? These fake accounts that are following them, how many of them can say they have a loyal following? They have people that show up for an hour, Monday through Friday, to engage with each other and with the host, right? Like, that says something. That's huge. And when people hear that, they're like, oh, dang. I mean, even just when they hear 5 days a week, right? Like, that's a lot. I'm just looking at the comments real quick. Sorry. I get going there. Yep. Every action has a cause. Exactly, Jess. Yep. We have a better party. Exactly. We do have a better party. I had someone click on a review on my Facebook page by accident. She clicked on 1 star. It brought my rating down. Oh, really? I'm gradually crawling my way back up, but it doesn't look, it doesn't, exactly. I need a drink of water. Vicky says, when I started watching you, I think there were about 3, 4, 5 people. Now you have double that, but I love your little audience. Yeah, you guys, and that's the cool thing, is that, I could sit here and be like, oh man, I only have a couple people showing up. I only have 10 right now live on my broadcast. Is it worth it? Yeah, it's worth it, because this is where I create my content. And then I can repurpose. I can use all of this. I can connect with you guys. When people really start to show up, they will be like, oh, where has Ed been all my life? Where has his group been all my life, right? Like that's what happens when we get new people that show up around here. I see you guys on the replay. I see you dropping a comment saying hello for the first time. It's awesome. I have a lot of people that actually show up on the weekends, and they'll catch up on the previous episodes that happened all week. I get it. You're busy. No one can hang out all the time and catch every single episode. That's a lot. That's 5 hours a week, you guys. That's 5 hours a week. Isn't that crazy? For us to be live. That doesn't even count the time that I put in before this and after this. That's just us being live during the week. It's nuts when you think about that. That reminds me, Ed, that's the screwy thing about Facebook Local. The star rating is inaccurate. Ooh. So Erica is going to be joining us sometime soon. We're gonna work on this to get Erica back on the show to talk about Yelp versus Facebook Local, because I had a question about that on my personal profile, and so I definitely thought Erica would be the perfect one, because she uses Yelp a lot in the city. So we're going to have her on the show. Jess, water helps keep your vocal. Yeah, it does, right? That came from probably one of our rich friends too, right? I don't know. I'm just thinking that. Tammy, I have been asking for reviews, and that has helped me get reviews. Remember to ask. Always. Always, 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 right? You guys, my 3 core values are show up, deliver, and engage. That's what I'm going to help you do. That's what I'm going to show you how to do. But you also have to remember, you have to ask and you have to listen, right? It's just that simple. Like, that's what you got to do. And so understand that. Yeah, true. Just what can I say? It's true. Everyone always says, Ed, where have you been all of my life? Like, literally, that's what happens when you discover me and my world, right? Anyway, so we have that. We talked about, so SEO. So let's recap for SEO. Before I do real quick on the reviews, back to Tammy and Respectful Connections there. Yes, that is true. You need to ask for the reviews. Remember, it's part of that ask and listen, and it's a huge thing. Your job, I know I tell you, your job is to show up, deliver, and engage. You're already doing all of that. Congratulations. Next, it's kind of an extension of your job in that sense. You have to ask, and you have to constantly redirect. Like it's just like anything else. Whether you got kids, whether you got husband/wife, whether you have other family members that you have to take care of, whether you have clients, whether you have siblings, it doesn't matter. We're always constantly redirecting, right? We're making sure so and so is doing this, or if they're not, we have to say, can you please do XYZ? Can you please clean your room? I've told you 5 times. Can you please clean your room? Can you answer the phones? Can you check your email? Whatever the case is, you have to constantly redirect the conversation, and hopefully, eventually, the other person will understand and be like, "Oh, got it. Yes, will do. Definitely." And so that's a big thing when it comes to reviews. That's a big thing when it comes to anything that you want to get. Right? I'm always telling one of my friends. When they look for, one of my friends, but a few of my friends, when they're looking for jobs, a 9 to 5, I'm like, okay, so you applied, but did you follow up? No, I was kind of waiting. What are you waiting for? If it's been over a week, you need to follow up. If you want the job, you have to put in the work before you can even get it, right? So that's just the thing. That's just what you got to do. Erica, you would think the star rating would be connected to, that would be interesting. I looked myself up on Facebook Local. I have 5-star rating, but on Facebook Local, it was one interesting. And it's funny, by the way, Erica, when it comes to the star ratings connecting between your Facebook page and your Facebook Local, here's an interesting thing for you guys to know. From what I've heard, if we think about Facebook Watch, it's that whole thing that they're trying to build, where we're trying to get the show on there, but actually I don't even know if I want the show on Facebook Watch. From what I've heard, when you apply, or you can apply to be on Facebook Watch, but once you get accepted, you start at 0, meaning all the likes and follows that are on this page right now, which I think we're a little over 1,000 now, that doesn't carry over. You basically, from what I hear, you have another page that you start from 0 to build your audience back up. To me, that makes absolutely no sense whatever. At all. I don't even know. Again, maybe I'm missing something because I don't know past that part. But to me, that makes absolutely no sense. Why? The whole point of getting on Facebook Watch is probably because you've built up an audience and you've built up a show. And so why would you then take that and start at a cold audience again? It doesn't make any sense. Maybe you guys have insight. I don't know. Yeah, Erica says, right? Here we go. Boom. I don't know about all that. So what I do know about, though, is that we got to jump into this quick content here before we run out of time. So let me switch over to, I'm going to switch over to my window here. So real quick, just to show you, we talked about this in episode 49. I'm going to show you real quick here. If we go incognito window, just a recap, because it's going to tie into what we're talking about. To search for yourself, to Google yourself, what you want to do is you want to what? Put quotes around the exact phrase. Why? Because then Google will search for your exact phrase when there's quote marks around it. So it is quoting, oh my goodness, I can't even talk because I'm so excited, you guys. So it has now taken Ed Troxel, that's me, and pulled up everything that has that exact phrase in it, okay? So this is what we talked about in episode 49. You can go take a look at it, but I wanted to do a quick recap. That's how you're going to Google yourself. We also talked about how we want to make sure that when we do this exercise, we go through and we save these links to what I suggested would be a spreadsheet, because that will allow you then to have one easy to use document where you have all of your links to your public profiles in one spot. Now, I know you're asking, but Ed, why would I do that? I don't like spreadsheets, and I don't know why I would put all these links in a spreadsheet. Like, I could just Google myself. You could, but if you put in a spreadsheet, then it's all listed there, one place. Then you can also make note of when you clicked on it, when you updated it. You can make any other notes. So there's more that I can talk about. We're not going to go into it, but FYI, that's what we talked about last week. So why does this tie into spring cleaning? Well, because I've been doing this over the weekend and I have still a big project to continue here, I decided that because I took my own advice and stepped it up over the weekend, I went through and I did that. I made sure to get all my links and start saving them to a spreadsheet. I then went in and I updated my profiles. So I just did this one today. I have got to tell you guys, and this is going to be a little rant, but I have got to tell you, I can see why. Oh, it's so weird. LinkedIn does this. Okay, so this is part of my LinkedIn. We gotta bring it back over here. We gotta bring it back for a second. So LinkedIn. How many of you guys have LinkedIn? Even if you're watching the replay, how many of you have LinkedIn? And if you do you use it / do you love it? Now, I know it's great for finding jobs. I know it's great for connecting with other businesses. I get that. I will say that LinkedIn, call me. Like, that's what I'm going to tell you. Just call me. Like, we'll work on the opportunities here, but just call me, because there's a system here, but there's definitely opportunity. I will just say that. I'm looking, yes, and share it if you need to. Nope, no, I don't have LinkedIn. LinkedIn, I share my posts there. Good, Tammy. Yeah, I used to. I've kind of slacked on that part. I should do it again. I probably should do that, especially with Ed Talk TV. I'm sure that would blow up over there, so I should do that. Yeah, you have a full profile, right, Erica? But it's not something I think about much. My thoughts exactly. I know, I'm sorry, but that's the thing. But I don't use it. Yep, exactly. Yep. No, I don't use it, but I have it. Yeah, so it's one of those things that we all have. Well, most of us have, but it's just there, and we forget about it, right? Which is why I did the little recap about the SEO search, the Google search, to make note of, because chances are you haven't updated that profile in how many years. And so if people are looking for you on Google and they find that profile, what are they going to find? An outdated photo, outdated information, and then you're missing out on possible business connection, right? So you need to update that. Make a mental note. Don't leave the broadcast. Make a mental note for that. Vicky, I thought it was for more high-profile people, if I'm honest, like coaching and mentoring. Well, we know that high profile right here, drinking water from this, mason jar and got the monkey on the wall. I'm on there, so we're good. No, I'm just kidding. That is a good feedback. That is good feedback, because that can come across. I can totally see why you might think that, because of the way that it's set up. There is higher levels of LinkedIn that will be paid options. To be honest, I haven't even explored that area. I don't even use the basics, let alone the more advanced on there. So there is other options there. Wit says, I started using it recently since I needed to apply for TEDx. Yeah. So see, when you start applying for things, right, that's when we are like, oh, LinkedIn. Like, yeah, I remember that. How many of you guys even knew that LinkedIn has groups? Yeah, they have groups. I'm in a couple of them. I don't even know when the last time is that I checked them, but I'm in a couple of them. My account is for old business though, so I have to figure that out. Yeah, exactly, right? Exactly. I'm not sure why they be looking for an artist, so I haven't bothered. Oh, yeah, so that's an interesting thought. You guys who are tuning in, who are commenting, even if you're watching the replay and haven't commented yet, what are your thoughts on that? If you're an artist, should you have a LinkedIn profile? I'm curious. I won't tell you what I think yet. I'll let you guys chime in on that. They were trying to enter the realm of also being a freelance platform. Oh yeah, they were, right, Erica? It hasn't really gone too far. Mason jars make up 85% of your glass collection. This is true. This is true. Hashtag facts. So the profile, as you saw, my profile didn't look like I had much there, but let me go back. So if you're browsing just my profile here, this is what you'll see if you're not logged in. But when you're logged in, whoops, let's see. When you are logged in, though, you will see something like this once it loads. Yep, that's what you'll see. Kind of like what happens on the weekends when I try to watch Netflix for a few minutes. That's usually what I get. So you can see I do have a profile picture. It is there. A corporation just says a corporation might see your work and want to hire you. I think it's beneficial for artists. So there you go. Yep, I would say to go ahead and put it up there, because you can also, on a LinkedIn profile, you can put your past experiences too. So if you've ever worked a job, a corporate job or just a 9-to-5, it may not be the best job, but you can still put it if you wanted to. But yeah, I think LinkedIn is a great place to at least have a profile with some information on what you do. Now you can see here's my profile. So I went through today and I cleaned up my profile a little bit. I changed this because this was all just outdated, and I've kind of cleaned things up. Now, the reason I'm showing you this is because it's important. You can also add a header and show EdTalk TV. Yes, so Tammy just nailed that. So this actually, and the reason I pull up LinkedIn is because I wanted to explain a little bit why I left the header this way. Tammy was saying, just for those who don't know, that when you have a LinkedIn profile, you get this itty bitty little weird area that you can actually change. So if I go to edit here, and this all ties into your website cleanup / web cleanup is what I'm calling it. You obviously need to go in and make your edits. And then you can see here, you can actually change this. Now, how many of you guys use Canva.com? How many of you use Canva.com? Let me know. Right, Jess? Yeah, I had some awesome help. Jess has been helping me out a lot. Anybody who needs to get support in their business outside of me, definitely look into checking with Jess. She's awesome. And so if you use Canva.com, you will notice that they actually have a spot that says LinkedIn banner. It's actually not the same size as this. Yeah. I went through today to look, and look how nice this is. When you log into LinkedIn, it actually tells you what requirements they recommend, which is why I compared that to the one in Canva and realized that the one in Canva is not the same as this one. I'm sure they'll update it at some point, but know this, that if you need to update your banner, I'm going to call it, in LinkedIn, you do need to get these exact measurements in Canva, and it will show up if you just hover over this when you're in the edit mode. Now, Tammy brought up a great point. She's like, oh, you can put, your show up here, EdTalk TV. Before I actually had, something with like checkwithed.com or whatever. I changed it and I just went with this flat blue because what happens is first check with Ed, second then check with Jess. That's hilarious, Jess. Yeah, that is hilarious. Yeah, Tammy, right? Update Canva. Come on, get it. So there's that part. Now, here's the thing that you want to know is that you can't just look at this on desktop. You need to make sure that whatever changes you make, you immediately go to your phone and take a look at what it looks like on the phone. So the reason I left this blank is because I did not like the way it looked on the phone. Even when I had the text in this area, it just didn't look right, and I didn't want to waste a ton of time on this because to me, that's that's not a good use of my time, at least not right now. Maybe at some point when I'm really bored or get tired of this, I'll do it. But because it fits my brand colors and it looks clean, I decided to just leave it. But you can add some copy up there for it. So just keep that in mind. Let's see, Erica, I find that on Adobe Spark too. Sometimes, dimensions are slightly off. Yeah, exactly. Hey, Mickey, preparing for your live today. That's right, Mickey's on at 5. I love it. But I'm glad you're here to say hi. So that's about LinkedIn, okay? So real quick recap, we're talking about web cleanup. It's springtime. You need to clean up your web presence, which is why you need to do the Google search, which we covered. And then when you're using LinkedIn for this case, this is what you'll do. Now, what I'm going to show you is my website, because there are some changes coming to my website, / I already implemented some. But I want to show it to you because it's important. It's part of your web presence, right? It's like the first place that you want to focus on, and then all of these social media profiles. So I am cleaning up my different websites. I'm just going to be honest with you guys. And I'm bringing it together. So the transformation has started on edtroxel.com because you start with me, right? Like you start with me. So we're going to go from there. And so I created this, and I went through and decided, you know what? There's times where we, you know what? Let me just bring it to me real quick again. Let's see if I got that right. So, because you guys have to see, right? So there's times when we're on it. We're like, yes, this, that, and we'll put it all out there, right? We're talking about our website, for instance. So we'll put everything out on there. Then we will go through and forget about it, right? And then we would look at it later and we're like, well, hopefully you look at it later because you know I told you to go look at it later. Then you go back and look at it and you're like, oh, there's a lot of crap on this site. And I'm talking about our personal sites, right? And so then you're like, okay, I got to clean this up. And you do that hopefully regularly. It doesn't mean you have to do it every week, every month, but once a quarter, once a year, maybe, depends on how much your business changes. And we're always constantly growing and evolving. So is our website, or it should be at least. So the different sites that I have gone through changes. And so right now, I am now cleaning house. I'm just cleaning up my web presence and really starting to tighten everything up. And that all starts with now edtroxel.com. So you're going to notice, if you ever look at any of my bios on my social media profiles, personal and professional, you're going to notice some differences. Some of them are slight, some of them are a lot, like you just saw in the LinkedIn part. I'm changing things up so that way it's simplified. So that way you can go to specific things if you need to, right, Jess? Feedback does matter. And this is where it all comes into play, you guys, is it's not only my feedback to myself. Yeah, that's a thing that can happen. But it's also feedback that I get from everyone else. Not necessarily directly, but it's because I pay attention. It's because I'm wanting to make sure that the experience is seamless. I know that I offer a lot. I know that I do a lot of things. And it's hard to keep up. Like, I know that. And so that's why I'm trying to make it so that you have a clean, concise place to go. And that if you're somewhere else, it's easy to navigate and go to the other spots and be like, oh, yeah, I wonder what Ed has to offer for services. Oh, I wonder what Ed has to offer for subscription. I wonder what XYZ. Like, I'm trying to clean that up for you guys. Hence why, whoops. Boop. See, I can't even do it. Let's see. Hence why I have that still up on the wall, and I have like 3 or 4 others mapped out on the other side of the room. So it's a lot of work, but it's fun, and it's like constantly thinking out. thinking through all of that. So when we go back to what you're seeing here, this is what is new. And then I'm going to start cleaning up the navigation and everything. But you can see that I've made it so that when you want to, these are basically the two options that you have when you want something from Ed, right? You either want to work with me or you want to learn from me. And then those will go to their right categories and things like that. Yes, easy to use and clean images are so important for customers. Exactly. And so that's partly there, or I mean, that is there, and that's where they'll go. And then I'm working on the navigation. You know, this all takes time. You know, Jess knows, because we've been talking about it, that some of these things, you guys, will take you hours just working on a simple thing like the photo. I will tell you, simple things just like this area can take you hours, depending on the system that you have and the look you're going for and the way you want it to fit, because you have to remember that it's not just the way it looks on your computer screen. How does it look on mobile? How does it look on your tablet? Like all of those things. That's a good tip, Tammy. What did I miss on Tammy? Also remember your headshots should be consistent across platforms. Ooh, yes, and updated once a year. Great tip, Tammy. I'm pretty sure my headshots are the same. I will double check, but I think that's great. That's a great tip. I'm glad you guys picked up on that because I totally missed that. Thank you. Jess says Post-it notes are everything, folks. It's so true. Yes, perfect. Yes, Lord. Hours and days of tears, right, Mickey? It's so crazy. Yeah, Vicky, that's, this is my about page, right? And actually, you guys, I'm so excited. I forget when. It's going to be, I think, next week or the week after. I'll have to take a look. But we are having a guest on the show that's going to talk about pages. I'm so excited. And I'll tell you the story on that day of how I found her and what we're doing with it. But I'm excited. Looks like it's going to be on March 20th. Yeah, March 20th. The Anatomy of an About page. So I'm super excited about that. Let me take a look at notes. Just says, sometimes a button takes 40 minutes. It's so true. How many of you guys can relate? It's like so true. So do you work on changes while the site is up? Whitney, yes and no. I have a system where I do all the previews first, and then once I am good, I'll make it live. And then sometimes, depending on how big the change is, yes. I mean, my site's always live, so any changes I make, I just watch in the preview and then go from there. Yeah, so Jess, this is new. I just finished this the other day. It is so much better than the page before. I don't think I have an image of what the page looked like before, but I will tell you guys, like, this is so clean. I will tell you it's so clean. So, and it's not just because I did it. But, I made it easier to go through, right? And this photo of me ties in to the journey. It talks about the history, right? It goes into, I have a little video here of my speech that everyone has really enjoyed and that has really been great for business. Then I talk about, for those who are interested, when I was a kid, and I tie in the photos that represent what I'm talking about here, right? With a consistent call to action. We won't go too far into this about page, but I just wanted to show that real quick with what's going on and the changes that you're going to start seeing there. When you are on Work with Ed, which we're going to clean this up, but this is also a new page that has developed. And this was actually the first one, just to show you guys once it loads. Sorry, when you stream and try to load other things, it can be complicated. So again, when you want to work with me, I made it simple for you to just show up, deliver, and engage, right? It's just that simple. And then here's my quick story, and then it takes you straight to a contact form, because it's important for us to start the conversation for what you may or may not need, right? So that's the kind of stuff that you have to understand. Your website is going to be constantly changing. what you come up with today may not be, and oftentimes is not, what you're going to have in 6 months, a year, or 2 or 3 later. But being aware of that and knowing that you're going to set that time aside to do this web cleanup. It's not just your website, that's an important start, but it's also your presence online through your social media platforms. Like Tammy said, having a consistent profile image is huge. You guys, most of you, I only know you based off of the photo I see, especially on Facebook, right? When that photo changes, I'm like, wait, what? Who is that? Who is that? And if you have like, a crazy filter on or some like really dark glasses with a hat and looking like, a creeper, I don't know who you are. So it's hard. So keep that in mind. Even if it's your personal profile on Facebook, you have to remember that people are going to know you first through your personal profile, then go through all your business stuff. I mean, that's just how it's set up. That's just how it works. I have faded images on my website. I think it looks so much nicer. Yeah, exactly. Right, Vicky? I do too. I agree. I'm really digging this faded look of the photos. It really is clean for me. Look at all those work with me buttons. Yeah, exactly. Right? It's just easier. It's just, like I said, there's so much that I offer that I can't just throw it all up on a page and I can't just try to have it come across. Nobody's going to read it, you guys. Nobody's going to read. And as you guys know, when you show up and you hang out with me, we can have that conversation and work from there, right? So yes, this page is fire. I love it. So that's what I want you guys to start thinking about is go through, Google yourself, make some time first. Let's back up. Cut out some time. I'm going to recommend probably at least a half hour. I guess I have to change my bit emoji. Oh, Whitney, that's awesome. Well, and if you have a bit emoji, it pretty much looks like you, so you're okay too. So when it comes to this task, right? Homework, as Whitney would say, homework is set aside some time. Now, there's a few steps that you're going to be doing here. So break up whatever time you have available, whether it's 10 minutes to do the Google search or a half an hour. But first project will be Googling yourself and seeing what comes up on the first few pages for your name. Making sure you save those links, and then your next project, because you'll make your list, right? Then your next project will be, okay, now how about I go through and start updating one by one by one. 5 minutes here, 10 minutes there, whatever. Like it doesn't take too long when you're updating your social media profiles once you know what you're updating it with, right? And then you just make your note. Your website will take longer because you have to look at it. You have to then go through all of these Post-its. You have to start mapping everything out. You have to ask yourself what people are wanting, what they don't. Like, does this make sense? Like, that's a whole nother ballgame, which if you need help, that's when you're going to hire me because that's when we're going to work through it. But that's something that you're going to need to look at. And I would suggest putting in your calendar a reminder because let's face it, if you don't put in your calendar, you're not going to do it. That's just the thing. Even if you have a paper calendar, put it in a digital calendar so you get that notification that you need to do this once a quarter, once every 6 months, once a year, whatever it is. Don't go past a year though. Put it in your calendar. You can even say, Ed said, check my web presence. Ed said, update my web presence. Hashtag EdTalkTV. I don't care. Put it in there. If you do something fun like that, you can always take a screenshot and share it with us here. But do something so that way you have that reminder because, I can't be in your calendar unless you put me there. So let me take a look real quick before we end the show here. A nice headshot might be better as a profile pic than my logo, more personal. Yes, that is a great point for business pages. People want to see you. They want to see you. Even if you're a big corporation, that can be a little harder because that's when the logo usually is their default. But people want to see you. And then they recognize you. Then they're like, oh, yes, that's who you are, right? And so that helps. So keeping that there. Facebook just stopped so weird. Oh, I know. I know. Well, thank you guys so much. You can stay tuned. Even if you've seen this before, stay tuned to the end because I just updated the outro video here for you guys as well. And you guys can always share feedback on that as well. I know, back to back. Oh, well. well, we'll just go with that, right? So anyway, have a great night, and we'll talk to you guys tomorrow, and I'll catch up with you guys on the after party. Hopefully later on tonight. I got some work I got to jump into right after this. So have a great night, and we'll talk to you guys soon.